Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are shifting gears a little bit. We usually talk about these, big abstract concepts, tech, history, psychology.
Right.
But today, I want to talk about something that is literally staring you in the face every single morning. Something you probably look through without really seeing.
Or, if you're like me, something you pretend not to see because it reminds you of that weekend chore list.
Exactly. We are talking about the exterior of your home, windows, roofs, gutters, even solar panels. And look, I know what you're thinking. You're
Mm.
thinking a 20-minute deep dive
Right.
on cleaning, really. But I want you to hold that thought because we have a stack of documents here from a company called Kelian Cleaning Services out of Seattle.
Yeah.
And when you actually peel back the layers of their business model, their safety certifications, the actual physics of how they clean, their insurance, it stops being about chores.
It does. It stops being about making things pretty, and it starts being about asset management. That's the big shift I had reading this stuff.
Asset management.
Yeah. We tend to think of cleaning as this aesthetic luxury. You wipe the counter so it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're dealing with a structure that sits out in the wind and rain 365 days a year, cleaning is structural.
Right.
It's preventative health for your biggest investment.
So that's the mission for today's deep dive. We're using Kelian as a case study to figure out the difference between just, washing a house and actually maintaining a home.
Right.
We've got their service agreements, testimonials, and even copies of their federal safety certificates.
And honestly, the difference between getting this right and getting it wrong is, well, it's usually about $10,000 or $20,000 in deferred maintenance costs down the road.
Okay, let's jump in. I want to start with the most obvious entry point, the windows. Because in the source material, Kelian lists window cleaning inside and outside as a primary service. But they flag this specific psychological barrier that I think everyone listening has felt.
The rain objection.
The rain objection, that feeling of, why on earth could I pay good money to clean my windows today if the forecast says it's going to rain tomorrow?
It feels like you're just throwing money away.
Exactly, lighting it on fire.
It's the number one objection homeowners have. And it makes intuitive sense, right? Water falls from the sky, hits the glass gets wet, it gets spotty. Therefore, rain ruins clean windows.
But the source material here argues the complete opposite. They have this policy called the rain guarantee.
Which is fascinating.
Let me read this verbatim. We guarantee to come back and touch up your affected windows if it rains the next day after service has been provided.
Now, stop and think about the business risk of that statement for a second. If rain actually ruined clean windows, a company in Seattle offering that guarantee would be bankrupt in a week. They'd be doing free re-cleans every single day for 9 months of the year.
So either they're crazy or we don't understand how rain works.
We don't understand how rain works. See, the reason your windows look terrible after a light rain isn't the rain itself. Rainwater is actually relatively clean. Yeah, it's distilled by nature. It has some acidity, maybe some atmospheric dust, but it's not mud. The reason you get those spots is because of the dirt that was already on the window.
Oh, so the window is already dirty and the rain just moves it around.
Exactly. The rain hits the dust, the pollen, the grime that's sitting on the glass. It turns that dust into this liquid suspension, basically a muddy soup, and pools it into droplets. When the water evaporates, it leaves the dirt behind in these concentrated little rings. That's the spot.
So if the window is perfectly clean,
The rain hits it, sheets off, and evaporates clean. There's no dirt to redistribute. And that's why Kelian can offer that guarantee. They know if they do their job right, the rain won't matter. They're betting on the quality of their own work.
that is a really useful mental reframe. It's not the rain's fault, it's the dirt's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of dirt, let's move up the house. Because while windows are mostly aesthetic, I mean, yeah, you want to see out of them, the source material gets much more serious when we talk about gutters.
The tone definitely shifts there. It gets pretty serious.
It does. They have a warning in their documentation. It says gutter cleaning is much more important than you can imagine, and they explicitly link dirty gutters to costing you a lot of money.
Right.
Now, be honest, is this just a scare tactic to sell a service?
No, this is legitimate structural engineering physics. Think about what a gutter actually is. It's not just a trough for catching leaves.
Okay.
It is a water management system. Its sole job is to take the thousands of gallons of water that hit your roof in a storm and move them away from your foundation.
Okay, but if it gets clogged with leaves and gunk...
If it's clogged, that system fails, and the water has to go somewhere. So it backs up, it overflows the lip of the gutter, and then gravity takes over.
Right.
It runs down the fascia board, that wood right behind the gutter. That wood starts to rot. Then it runs down the siding. Then it pools right at the base of your foundation.
And that's where the lot of money comes in?
That's where it comes in.
Yeah.
Foundation repair is tens of thousands of dollars. Rotting fascia is thousands. And in a climate like Seattle, you also have the freeze-thaw cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Wet leaves in a gutter sit there, they freeze, they expand, and the sheer weight of that ice can rip the gutter right off the house. So when they say this is about saving money, they're talking about avoiding catastrophic failure, not just making things look tidy.
It's like the gutter is the kidney of the house. You don't think about it until it fails, and then it's a crisis.
That's a great analogy. And if the gutters are the kidneys, then the roof is the skin.
Let's talk about the roof, because Kelian's material makes a similar claim here. Roof cleaning not only makes your home prettier, it also helps you save money on roof replacement.
It's the same principle of prevention. In the Pacific Northwest, on a roof, you aren't just cleaning off inner dust. You are fighting biology. You're fighting moss, algae, lichen.
The green stuff.
The green stuff. And that stuff is hungry. Moss specifically has these little root systems, rhizoids, that dig right into the asphalt shingles.
No way.
Yeah, they eat the limestone filler in the shingle. They physically lift the shingle up as they grow, which breaks the waterproof seal.
So the moss is actually dismantling your roof.
Slowly, yes. And it acts like a sponge. A roof is designed to shed water fast. Moss holds that wetness against the shingles for weeks after it rains, which just accelerates the rot. So cleaning the roof isn't vanity. It's about extending the lifespan of a $20,000 asset by maybe 5 or 10 years.
So it's selling pretty, but delivering longevity. That seems to be the theme here.
Yes, exactly.
But there's one area in the source material where the efficiency argument gets really technical, and that's solar panels.
This is a huge one. As more people adopt solar, this maintenance piece is often completely overlooked.
The source lists 3 specific contaminants for solar panels: dust, bird droppings, and this phrase caught my eye, after rain stains.
Which goes right back to our window discussion.
It does. But wait, I've heard people say, oh, I don't need to clean my solar panels, the rain does it. You're telling me that's a myth.
It's a massive myth, and Kelian addresses this. Think about your car windshield again. If you leave your car out in a rainstorm and you come out the next morning, is it clean?
No. It's usually worse. It's got that weird film on it.
Exactly. Pollen, pollution, dust. The rain brings all that down with it.
Yeah.
When it dries on a solar panel, it creates a film that blocks photons. It blocks light.
Okay.
But the bigger issue listed in the source is bird droppings.
They mention that specifically.
Because bird droppings are opaque. They're solid blocks. And here's the thing about solar panels. A lot of them are wired in series, like old Christmas lights.
Oh, right.
So if you block even a small chunk of one panel with a bird dropping, it can disproportionately drop the output of the whole array. It's like stepping on a garden hose. The flow just stops everywhere.
So you're paying for this expensive system, but you might be losing, what, 10, 15% of your power just because you haven't washed it.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
Studies have shown efficiency loss can range from 10 to as much as 25%, depending on the grime level.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kelian cleans solar panels, they aren't just cleaning glass. They're literally putting money back on your utility bill. It pays for itself.
That's the ROI. Okay, let's come down to ground level. Pressure washing, sidewalks, driveways, patios. The source text has a line here that cracked me up. It says, doing pressure washing baby yourself may not bring the quality results.
I think something might have gotten lost in translation there, but the sentiment is dead on. Babying it or DIYing it is usually a recipe for disappointment.
I feel seen by this.
Yeah.
I bought one of those little electric pressure washers a few years ago. I spent a whole Saturday doing my driveway, and when it dried, it looked like a zebra, just stripes everywhere.
The zebra striping, that is the classic mark of the amateur machine.
Why does that happen?
It's the equipment gap. Consumer units usually have high pressure, the PSI, but very low water flow, which is GPM, gallons per minute. You need flow to flush the dirt away evenly. But there's a bigger risk the source alludes to: damage.
Right, they mention using the latest, greatest equipment to avoid damage.
If you put the wrong nozzle on a pressure washer, you can slice through wood decking like a laser. You can etch concrete, literally carve lines into your driveway that never go away. You can strip the paint right off your siding.
So you try to save $200 and you end up causing $2,000 in damage.
And you wasted your whole Saturday. Kelian's point here is that professional equipment, combined with the right technique, cleans cleaner and safer. It's about knowing the surface.
Okay, so we've established the what. The windows, gutters, roofs, all that. But I want to pivot now to the who. Because looking at this material, Kelian isn't a franchise. It's not some massive national chain.
No, they identify very strongly as a family-owned business.
And that totally changes the vibe of their documentation. There's a section in there about philosophy that I found really relatable. And they say their goal is to ensure clients don't spend their valuable time explaining to us what to do. They want to minimize the headache.
That is such a specific value proposition for the modern homeowner. We are all busy. We have decision fatigue. The last thing you want is to stand in your yard and micromanage a contractor. You just want to point and say, fix it.
And they take it a step further. They say they want to achieve a smile on your face and build a trust relationship. It sounds a bit fluffy, right? But then you look at the social proof. We have this testimonial from a client, Diane A., and this review really dissects what that trust looks like in practice.
I loved this review. It was so specific. Specificity is always the hallmark of a real review.
It was. She talks about David, the owner. First off, she notes he was right on time.
Which, let's be honest, in the world of home services is like finding a unicorn.
Seriously? But then she talks about the solar panels. She says he cleaned them carefully and efficiently. But here is the kicker for me. She says, after he completed the job, he made sure I saw the panels and assured they were clean.
That is the integrity check. Think about it. Solar panels are usually on the roof. Diane's not going up there. David could have gone up the ladder, hung out for 20 minutes, sprayed a hose around, and come down. She would never, ever know.
Exactly. It's a totally invisible service.
So by explicitly making sure she saw the work, maybe taking a photo or calling her out to a vantage point, he was proving the value. He was saying, I did what you paid me for, even though you can't check it yourself.
Yeah.
That is how you build that trust relationship they talk about.
It's transparency. And that transparency extends to the most uncomfortable part of any business transaction. The price.
The economics section, yeah.
They have an FAQ here, and they tackle the elephant in the room head on. The question is, I received an estimate that is a lower rate than yours. Why is that?
I love that they put this in print. Most companies try to hide from their competitors' pricing. Kelian just leans into it.
And their answer is a masterclass in business literacy. They don't just say, we're better. They break down where the money goes.
They list it right out. Fully licensed and insured, paying taxes, paying salaries, 3 different insurances.
3 insurances. That jumped out at me. Why do they need 3?
This is the difference between a guy with a truck and a legitimate company. You need general liability. That's if they drop a ladder through your Mercedes or break a window. You need commercial auto for the van. But the big one, the one that should matter most to you, the listener, is workers' compensation.
Workers' comp. That's for if an employee gets hurt, right?
Correct. And here is the nightmare scenario the source material is hinting at. You hire the cheap guy. He quotes you half the price of Kelian. He climbs your roof to clean the gutters. He falls. He breaks a leg, or worse.
And if he doesn't have insurance?
If he doesn't have workers' comp, guess who is liable? In many jurisdictions, you are. The homeowner. You effectively became his employer the moment he stepped on your property. Now you are facing medical bills and lawsuits that could bankrupt you.
Wow. So that extra $100 or $200 on the estimate, that's not for cleaning. That's for my own protection.
You are paying for risk transfer. When Kelian says their price covers labor, insurance, tax, materials, they are telling you that they have insulated you from all of that liability. That is worth every single penny.
It's the cost of legitimacy. And speaking of safety, we found another document in the stack that impressed me, a certificate of completion.
Yes, for David Eric Kelian, the owner.
Dated February 2nd, 2022. It certifies that he completed the OSHA 10-hour outreach training program, general industry.
This is rare in the residential cleaning world. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is usually associated with big commercial construction sites. But David took the time to get certified.
What does a 10-hour course like that actually cover? Is it just watching videos?
No, it's rigorous. It covers fall protection, ladder safety, hazard communication, personal protective equipment. It teaches you the physics of gravity and leverage.
So when he puts a ladder up against your house, he actually knows the correct angle so it doesn't slide out.
Exactly. He knows how to tie off. He knows what shoes to wear on a wet roof. Again, this goes back to that price difference. Training takes time and money. But it means the person on your roof isn't guessing. They are a professional technician.
It's reassuring. You know they aren't going to fall on your azaleas or on their own heads.
Precisely. And that certificate is proof that they take their own lives seriously, which usually means they take your property seriously too.
So we've got the scope, the philosophy, the safety, the economics. Let's talk logistics.
Right.
If someone listening is in the Pacific Northwest and thinking, okay, my gutters are a disaster, where does Kelian actually operate?
They have a pretty wide footprint.
Hmm.
The source material lists Seattle proper, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but then they cover the whole east side Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, Sammamish,
Supakwa.
the tech hubs,
Yeah.
and they go south to Renton, Burien, Des Moines, and then north to Shoreline, Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell. They even list Bainbridge Island and Mercer Island.
That's a lot of driving.
It is, but it positions them as the regional expert.
Yeah.
And they're not a ghost operation. They list a physical address. 600 First Ave, Suite 102 in Seattle. Again, just signals of legitimacy.
And before we wrap, I want to circle back to one more guarantee. We talked about the rain guarantee, but they also have a satisfaction guarantee.
Right. The policy is simple. Call us back in 48 hours and we will stop by and fix what we missed.
I like the 48-hour window. Why 48 hours?
Well, it gives you time to live with it. Light changes throughout the day. You might not see a streak on a window at noon, but you might see it at sunset when the light hits it sideways.
That's a good point.
It also reinforces that no headache philosophy. If you spot a miss, you don't have to argue. You don't have to prove it. You just call. It removes all the friction.
And for the record, the contact info is right there in the source. 206-489-0302 or KelianCleaning@gmail.com.
Easy access.
So bringing this all together, we started this deep dive thinking about cleaning. Simple, wipe the dirt off cleaning. But looking at Kelian cleaning services, we're really seeing a blueprint for home maintenance.
We are. We're seeing that professional cleaning is really a triad. It's about preservation, keeping the roof and gutters from rotting. It's about efficiency, keeping those solar panels printing money. And it's about safety, both physical safety for the worker and financial safety for you, the homeowner.
And doing it with that family-owned touch, that David showing Diane the solar panels moment, really sticks with me. It's the human element.
You can have all the certifications in the world, but if you don't care enough to show the client your work, the trust isn't there. Kelian seems to have both the credentials and the care.
So here's the provocative thought I want to leave everyone with today. We often look at a service, quote, say $300 for gutter cleaning, and we compare it to the cost of doing it ourselves. And we usually value our own labor at zero.
Which is the biggest economic fallacy in homeownership.
It is. Because it's not zero. There's the cost of your time, your Saturday, that you could spend with your family. But think about the cost of the risk. We talked about insurance and OSHA. If you climb that ladder yourself, you have no OSHA training. You have no workers' comp. You are one slip away from a life-changing injury.
Is saving $300 worth risking your mobility? Or is the peace of mind offered by a licensed, insured expert like Kelian actually the smartest investment you can make?
It's a question of valuing your own safety as much as you value your clean windows. Something to mull over next time you see a leaf sticking out of your gutter. Check your home's exterior health, folks. It matters more than you think. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Stay safe.